What's up, guys? It's Benny. These bastards cannot keep getting away with it. Jeffrey Epstein's most famous sex-trafficked victim, somebody who was trafficked to the royal family, someone who said on the record that she can testify about Bill Clinton, she can testify about celebrities from Hollywood, the music industry, the recording industry. She can testify about American politicians and global leaders because she was one of the first and main sexual abuse and trafficking victims of Jeffrey Epstein, is dead by suicide. Her name is Virginia Giuffre. She's one of Jeffrey Epstein's most prominent abuse survivors, and she has allegedly died by her own hand. These bastards. Other Epstein's victims credited Giuffre with giving them the courage to speak out. Let's read. Virginia Giuffre, one of the most prominent survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse, has died by suicide, her family said Friday. Really? Giuffre, 41, died in Australia, where she had been living for several years. Giuffre was one of the earliest and loudest voices calling for criminal charges against Epstein and his enablers. Other Epstein abuse survivors later credited her with giving them the courage to speak out. She also provided critical information to law enforcement that contributed to the investigation and later conviction of Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as other investigations in U.S. Attorney and Southern District of New York. It is with utter broken hearts that we announce that Virginia passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia, her family said in a statement to NBC News. She lost her life to suicide after being a lifelong victim of sexual abuse and sex trafficking. Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight against sexual abuse, sex trafficking. She was the light that lifted so many survivors. In the end, the toll of abuse is so heavy that it became unbearable for her to handle the weight. Huh? Raised in Florida, Giuffre had a troubled childhood. She was abused by a family friend, triggering a downward spiral. She was attempting to rebuild her life when she met Maxwell, and then Maxwell brought her into the Epstein circle. And here she is with Prince Andrew, this famous photo taken as she describes in detail in multiple interviews what happened next as she was trafficked to Prince Andrew. Epstein, the wealthy financier, died by suicide as well in a New York jail. Of course, he didn't. He was killed. Maxwell, a former British socialite, was found guilty on 5 counts of sex trafficking in 2021. She's locked up in a very low security luxury penitentiary, effectively, for the Fed. Giuffre filed a federal lawsuit against Prince Andrew, alleging that he sexually abused her when she was 17. Andrew stepped back from his duties as a royal family, swirled around him, and the case, undisclosed, he settled for an undisclosed amount. It was in the tens of millions of pounds. He has denied ever having sex with her. It's a lie. This is horrifying news. We need more details about this. She lived on a remote farm. None of this article just mentioned that she just had a random, horrifying accident where she was in the hospital on life support. Nothing. Does it mention that she says, "I'm not suicidal"? This is not long ago. I'm not suicidal. Virginia Roberts, she changed her last name to her surname, but she went by Virginia Roberts for years, posts chilling message saying, "If something happens to me, do not let this go. Evil people want me quiet," in the wake of Prince Andrew's scandal and Jeffrey Epstein's death. Look at this. Virginia Giuffre, I'm making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known for my therapist. If something happens to me, in the sake of my family, do not let this go away. Help to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. That is because she has said multiple times on the record that she was witness to everything. She might be like, once they got rid of the evidence inside of the FBI and inside of the Fed, then they need to get rid of the human evidence, the humans who witnessed all of this. Dramatic update emerges from hospital. Jeffrey Epstein victim. She has only 4 days to live. Look at this. This was her just, what was the publishing date here? This was 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, April 7th. Here she is in the hospital. She was hit on a random road by a massive bus. The bus refused to stop. And she was taken to the hospital. She was living in Australia. family's picturesque farm. How would you even commit suicide here? So apparently out of this farm, some like outback farm, she committed suicide. This is insane. She said specifically that she was an eyewitness to Bill Clinton's crimes. Is this them finally tying up all loose ends? I'm going to need to hear more here. Here's a couple of things that I know. That in the famous leaked tape from Project Veritas, this was Virginia Roberts, who was speaking to the frustrated ABC news anchor about everything that she had. Listen.
The story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these.
She had Clinton. She had photos. She had pictures. She had everything. Says Amy Rohrbach here, before getting fired. Check this out. Government officials, politicians, royalty. They were taping everybody. Everything was being filmed. I've seen the films, she says. I mean, you're talking about a living witness to all of this. They're trying to shut down everything they possibly can about Jeffrey Epstein. You're talking about a living witness. Here was the living witness.
Saying that she has videos, or she has knowledge of videos that exist about people. People like who? People well-known names?
Very well-known names. The government officials, the politicians, the royalty. They were taping everybody, every moment.
They were taping everybody at every moment. She worked for Jeffrey Epstein for 10 years. 10 years. Dead by suicide. Just like Epstein. Incredible. I mean, it's like the evil and the shamelessness of these people. I need to hear more about this. This is Virginia's story. May she rest in peace.
I'm in London. I was so young. Ghislaine woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince. And then that night, Prince Andrew came to her house in London, and we went out to Club Tramp. Prince Andrew got me alcohol. It was in the VIP section. I'm pretty sure it was vodka. Prince Andrew was like, "Let's dance together." And I was like, okay. And we leave Club Tramp, and I hop in the car with Ghislaine and Jeffrey, and Ghislaine said, "He's coming back to the house, and I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein." I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that even royalty were involved.
Well, you know what they say. Dead men tell no tales. And now the tale of Virginia Roberts, Virginia Giuffre, is ended tragically. Also, of course, you can't charge crimes if there are no more victims. Is that what's happening here? I need to hear more. I need to hear more. The family just saying it's a tragedy. She's saying she's not suicidal. And then just 2 weeks ago, there was what seems like a targeting of her to kill her here in a traffic accident. What the hell's going on here? We'll keep asking questions. All the more reason to release every single file, tape, picture, piece of evidence that the federal government has ever had on Jeffrey Epstein. And do it now. Pray for Virginia's family. Goodness, they've been through a lot. See ya.